How's it going, everyone? Welcome to this video where I will be showing you the brand new update of EssentialFX, which is version 4. 2 years ago, I had an idea to create a plugin for editors that can help editors. At the time, I was teaching hundreds of editors Adobe After Effects, and I kind of understood what was missing. A lot of these guys had certain problems, and I had an idea to make a tool or plugin or extension that would solve those problems. That's when EssentialFX was born. As you can see here, version 1, it was okay. I did version 2, which was similar interface with some workflow tools. Then I did version 3, had some iffy feedback, did version 3.5, which did okay. And now I truly understand what needs to be built in this extension to make it so perfect and just overall a great experience for editors that do use After Effects. I want to give a big shout out to so many creators that helped me design, implement, and create features. You all know your names, but there's a lot of you. I'll put all your names in the description. Thank you. If I missed anyone, I'm sorry. But as you can see here, I have version 4 of Essentials. Let me just show you. It's currently on my second monitor. There's 3 new features, which I will go over in the whole video. I just want to make this intro to show you that I truly think this version of EssentialFX is going to be amazing for all of you users. I've had an insane amount of feedback on all the beta testers, so thank you to all those people that were helping me and just giving me criticism on my versions. Without further ado, I now introduce to you version 4 of EssentialFX.
On my wrist, they said it went down and let's keep us some keys. I told them it's fuck, I'm already rich. She just asked me if I got a song for really. I told her I got it. And not to be cut in the belly, I'm safe with new diamonds. I told them they turn on the.
This is the Bloody Fathers exclusive.
I got this basic app beef in the cook, a bit for the diamond, bitch. They sit on my wrist, they said it went down and let's keep us some cheese. I told them it's fuck, I'm already rich. I told them go turn it up. I got these bullet dummies on me, busy, I'm already up.
In this video, I'm going to walk you through everything that's new and how to use it. I'll break down the new features one by one, from the graph editor to the No-Keyframe Shake system to the Speedramp Automation, the notes, the themes, the workflow tools, the Speedramp tools, and the complete redesign of the interface. Whether you've been using EssentialFX from the start or this is your first time seeing it, before I dive into this, I want to let you know that there is a free version that you can test EssentialFX right now on the EssentialFX demo. Check the description, the link will be in there. Now, let's get right into the video. Here we have EssentialFX, fully built into Adobe After Effects with the brand new look. So first, I want to go over the new design and the new look and the features that it holds, and then I'll dive into each category, each feature, and show you exactly how I use it, what it's used for, and how you can possibly use it too. So first off, we have the new design. I wanted to make this more modular. Modular is a word for making something functionable, and you can just basically move it around however you want it to fit. So it's fully redesigned. So a lot of you guys are editing on multi-monitors. This will be perfect for you because it will fill in everything on your monitor. I've also redesigned it for a smaller monitor. So if you're working on a, let's say, small laptop and you're not using external monitors, you can really make this as small as you want. In my preference, I like to have it in a full scale size. And for the video, I will show you. But there's tons of fitment options, so you can really get this dialed in into your workspace. So here we have all the categories. You'll see that there's some new categories and some categories have been removed. After hearing the feedback, I know what you guys want to use, and what you want to see, so I've added them in. You'll see here, we have the effects category. With the effects bank here, we have the new Shake Controller, which I'll dive into. We have the FX tab with over 100 effects in here. I will be adding more, but there's tons in here. We have the VFX tab, which is all the custom VFX I made. Ambient, 3D effects. We have the LUTs category, which is over 70 LUTs that I personally made and use. I also put my car in here just because I want to put some of me into this extension. So all these LUTs are with that video. Speedramp tab, we have the Speedramp controller that I launched in version 3. Presets are here, and we have the recently added remapping features. Next, we have the new graph feature, which is all your saved graphs for speed ramping, keyframes, transitions, you name it. The graph is there for you, basically this graph editor here. And if you press the plus, you have the whole new look here. Transitions, we've added in some new transitions. After hearing the feedback on some of the other transitions like these ones, I still want to test them, but there's some issues for some users, so I removed them and I revamped all of the transitions. And lastly, we have the workflow tab with some new features down here and a new note section. Now if we go here, you'll see there is a new icon, which is a gear setting. This will turn into a bunch more features in the settings icon, but for now, it is the color adjustment. So you can go ahead, click it, choose a color you like. We have pastel, light colors, dark colors, neon colors. Basically any color that you would want is in here. You just click it until you find one that you like. And that's basically it for the entire UI. We made it better, we made it simple, we made it fit perfectly, which was one of the key things I wanted to make sure was happening, is that no matter what size you put it at, it will be functional and look great and helpful in your workflow. So let's start with the Effects tab. So what is the Effects tab? I introduced this in our last update of 3.5, and I thought this was such a cool feature because whenever I'm editing, I have a lot of effects that I'm constantly using, such as Lumetric color, you can see here. Let's see what else. We got shake effects on here, we got time effects, we have flashes, exposures, optics compensation, deep glow, Gaussian blur, all kinds of effects that I'm using. And I was tired of searching for it every time I wanted to use it. So instead, I made them all in here. So for example, you can already see I have some put in here that I use. So if you ever want to use an effect, or you have an effect that you like and you know you use it, you just look it up in here and you'll see the drop down. You can click it and you can add it into your effects bank. And to apply it, all you do is select what layer you want it on, adjustment layer, whatever, and you just click Lumetric color, for example, and it'll add it instantly. Same with any of these other effects. So if you want to add RSMB, stabilizer, all these effects will get added by a click. To remove it, you just press the minus sign and it'll delete it from your bank. Super cool tab. It's awesome when you just have everything on standby, just click it instead of searching. Now we have the new Shake controller. Just like how I did with the Speedramp controller where it's all automated in the speed ramping, now it's automated for the shakes. So you'll see here, this project that I'll be showing you on was a recent client project, and I used almost all of it in EssentialFX. I was testing out the version 4. I wanted to make sure everything was functioning in a real situation workflow, and it did. It performed, and it was awesome. So for the Shake controller, we have 4 adjustments here. If you're not familiar with working with shakes, if you use something like Sapphire Shake, these effects and sliders will be very similar to the shakes in Sapphire. So the amplitude will increase or decrease the amount of shake that will happen. So let's say you do higher, it will go higher like this, bigger amplitude. If you do smaller, it'll do a small shake. So that's amplitude. Frequency is how many times it's gonna shake within that feature. So for example, say we do 2 frequency for 1 duration, it will do 2 shakes within that duration. And obviously if you increase it, it'll become a jitter shake. I'll show you these all in a second. Oh, I'll show you now actually. So let me show you live while I'm doing this, what this looks like. So how to use the Shake controller is you click on your layer, usually your footage layer, and you press apply. And that's really it. It makes a layer, you press U, there's no keyframes, you don't need to adjust it. Everything you need to adjust is right here. So for example, if I wanted to change the amplitude, change it, make sure I'm selected on my Essential Shake controller, press apply, it'll automatically adjust. Duration, frequency, seed. The seed is basically the phase or randomization of the shake where it starts. So if it starts too high or it looks too rough at the beginning, just change the seed and find one you like. And you see it automatically updates right here. So let me show you with live playback. So you can see here, this shake is pretty nice. Now that I like this shake, I'm just gonna go ahead, I have my settings here, and I'm gonna name this G82 shake. I'm gonna press save, and now I have a bank of all my saves here. So if I ever need to come back to a shake I liked, I just click it, it'll update my settings here, and I can just press apply, and it automatically applies to my shake. Same with the duration. You can just press apply, change the duration. You'll see it extends, it adjusts. Some good settings I use are these right here, this shake, and obviously the shake I just made now. And all you do is press apply. So for example, if you want to put it on a layer over here, you click on that layer, press apply, it's gonna adjust it and automatically apply it to that layer. So now we have a shake here. It also works if you just apply it to any adjustment layer. So I already have some effects here and lots of layers. So if I wanted to apply it to this adjustment layer, I press apply, it'll automatically add it to the layer. The Shake controller is super cool, super useful. As you just saw right here, I fine-tune it to make sure it works on all composition sizes as well. There's lots of creators that kind of don't put the extra energy in, where they sell presets for shakes and stuff, and you can only use it on, let's say, 4K vertical or only 1080p vertical. This works on all composition sizes, horizontal, vertical, 4K, 1080, whatever. It's coded to work for everything. And the best part is, you just keep playing with it until you find a perfect shake that you like. And I felt that it fit best in the effects tab, because once you have the shake in, you might want to add other effects, so you have them all here, such as blurs, flashes, whatever you want. Let's move on to the effects tab now. So in the effects tab, I have a lot of the classic effects from original EssentialFX. you guys really wanted it back. I was actually surprised, such as the decays and time distorts. I added those all back in. These are pretty self-explanatory. We have grains in here, blur ins. So all you want to do, click your layer once again, set your timeline cursor to the first part of that layer because that's basically where it starts. So wherever you want the effect to start the animation, you put your cursor. So I'm going to put it here, click my layer, and I'll just double click the blur in, for example, and it's going to apply it directly to my layer. And you have the keyframes here to adjust as needed. And you can see it adds the effect in. If you wanted to add it at a second point in your layer, but not at the beginning, you can do that, but you just need to trim it. So when you apply it and you move your cursor, if I press U, you'll see that the keyframes start here. So saying that, that means that all this is blurred as well in this case scenario. So I would just end up trimming this. Pretty self-explanatory. I believe there's over 70, 80 effects in here. I do want to make more, so give me feedback on what you guys want to see and I'll add them in here. Another thing we added too is before in our last update, you couldn't read the name because it was blocked out by the center of the video and you didn't know how the video was playing. You didn't know when it ended. So we added a playback on the bottom that you can see there and the name is much more visible. Next, we have the VFX tab. This is all the same VFX. I am getting a bunch more made. I just want to spend time on this because these do take a lot of time, a lot of skill, a lot of quality, a lot of thinking behind it rather than just doing some random effects on a layer. So these are all here. Still here to use. Really good for 3D stuff, so that's all in here. Next, we have the LUTs. These are over 70 LUTs that I personally use and make. As I said, these are LUTs that I use. So how I use them is, for example, you can either click a layer to apply it just to that layer, or don't click anything and it'll apply it to your entire timeline. You double click it, it'll apply it, and then you can just adjust opacity so you can adjust how much of that LUT you want to use. That's it for the LUTs. Next, we have the Speedramp controller, which I'll show you how to use properly and efficiently. So I'm going to show you from scratch how I use the Speedramp controller. So we have our original clip here, right? I'll just show you the whole timeline for an example. Let's say we want our point to be 16 to 18 right here. We want the Speedramp in there. This is the original clip. It has a lot of roughness right here. It's not stabilized yet, so I'm not going to use this. So the first thing I do, and you need to do too to use the Speedramp controller, is trim. So find the point where your clip starts right here. I'll trim that. I'm going to find the point where my clip ends, which is right, see it ends right here. So I'll do it right here and I'm going to trim it. The goal is don't trim it like this on your timeline. You need to pre-compose it with the full clip first. So you see how long this clip is? We're going to pre-compose this. So just to show you a new feature, workflow, we have the pre-compose button. So now you can just pre-compose like that. Now we have our full clip. You can go inside this clip and add in all your stabilization, whatever you need to do in here, warp stabilizer, tracking, you do that in the pre-comp, but you want the full entire clip in here. Now that we have the full clip, I'm going to snap this to 16 marker because that's where I want it to start, and I want it to end at 18. So I'm going to go ahead, trim it at 18. Important keynote, you see all this extra footage here that you can see that's grayed out? You need this. This is how the Speedramp controller is going to work. It's going to take this footage and speed ramp it. If your footage is like this and you have a bunch of footage on the side, on your left side, it's going to speed ramp this as well. So likely you won't have a speed ramp here. It'll be frozen. So let me explain the speed ramp now. So we have the in point. 100 is basically your original speed. So your clip originally plays at 100 speed, right? 100%. So if I put this to 1000, you're playing at 10 times speed. It's going to go 10 times speed in, which is 1000 in right here, 1000 in. And then when it goes to the midpoint, it's going to go to its original value of 100. So it's going to slow down in the mid. And then the out, I usually match to the in. So you have a solid flow. So now it's going to go out 1000 again. So 1000 out. The curve, basically use anything above 70. Unless you're pretty familiar with speed ramping and how it works, then you can mess around with lower curves. But for the speed ramp that you're probably going for, use above 70. I'll put 85 and I'm going to press apply. And once you press apply, it automatically does it to your layer already. Let me just show you. Just like the Shake controller, all you do is click your layer and change these settings and press apply and it will change here. So if you see I changed the mid speed, it changes the speed. We have the presets down here as well. So if you save a flow you like, you just save it and then you can press apply. So you see here it applies. And let me play it for you now. So you can see here, that's the speed ramp. It's fully automated and it adjusts to the end of your layer. So if I move this, you're gonna see the speed ramp changes, but obviously I want it to be the full length. So if I had my layer like this with extra footage back here, it's not gonna do any speed ramping. You see how it's frozen? That's because I have all this footage here that it's speed ramping. So this is going to waste basically. So it needs to start at the beginning and have tons of footage at the end to make a speed ramp with this method. And as I said, you can change the speeds, mess around with it, press apply. And if you want it to reverse at the end, instead of keep going forward, you press reverse, press apply, and it's going to reverse it automatically at the end. I've talked to some of you that needed help with this Speedramp controller, and you said I make it look so easy, but it's very basic fundamentals of After Effects. Basically, trim your layer, pre-compose that entire layer, stabilize it, and then trim it on your timeline to the desired area, and then you just choose your settings and press apply. All you have to do is remember that 100 speed is original speed. So 200 on the in means double the speed. If you want a very small speed ramp, you just do this, press apply, and it'll update. Cool. You can see this is not stabilized, so it's a little jittery. But that's the Speedramp controller. It's very easy, very simple. Just make sure you have a long enough clip. Next, we have the Remapping tab. So this was a feature that I originally came with from Workflow, this keyframe slider here, and I'll show you what that does too. But in the Speedramp tab, Remapping has a lot of time remapping features. So we have our layer here, right? It's already trimmed, whatever. I'm gonna go ahead, press enable. That's gonna enable time remap. I can then do my time remapping however I wanna do it. Put it to the end, go to my graph, and apply a graph, or instead of doing the graph, you could just do the functions in here. So this adjusts the X, so let me just spam it, adjust the X, this adjusts the Y. So you have a range of options in here. It's mostly for animating, basically remapping, not just time remapping. So it's really good for animating a lot of keyframes at once. How I like to use it is on multi-layers. So let's say, for example, here we have some pan and cropping. You can see here, we have pan and cropping. I would select these, and I basically would just change my values. I'd have my Y at like 2, so it's a little bit poking up, and my X at like 60. And you'll see here, it adjusts all these keyframes at once. That's basically what this does. The Y changes the Y, obviously. And you just have presets here. So if you have animations, you do a lot of animating transitions, this is a good tool. If you want it simplified, use the workflow keyframe strength. This is also great. So you can see here, I can change the keyframes just by clicking it. I don't even need to see the graph technically. And it works best with multi-layers. So if I have multiple layers like this, and these all have different values, you can just select them and you can sync them all together. So if I wanted this to be out, I would set the X to 0 and press apply, and you can see it goes to 0. If you want it to be a little bit smoother, you set it to that, and it adjusts all the keyframes at once, so it syncs all your animations at the same time. Then remapping, the Y is just an extra feature that I added in here. Next, we have reverse, just reverse your clip. Freeze frames your clip. This is not even a clip, so it's not gonna freeze. Freeze frame, freezes your clip. So the sync button right here is a toggle on and toggle off. What that does is it syncs your graph. So if I go in here, and let's say I had lots of graph points, maybe like this. Let me show you how I use it. So these points right here, since these are the ends, I want them to be tight. So I'm gonna set this to 0, and I'm gonna set this to maybe 1. Press apply. Now we have a tight graph. We'll go to this keyframe, set this to around 80. Now we have this. The sync basically puts these together. You see how these points are not in sync? That's what the sync button does. So if you have it toggled and you press apply, it'll automatically sync everything. So this comes in handy when you have multi-ramps. So let's say we have something like this. Let me just reset this to 0. So this is what you'll get in a normal graph. And I'll select my middle two, set this to around 80. So now it's speed ramped like that. And then I'll set these two all the way to 0, which they're basically already at 0. And that's it. Now you have your points, they're all synced, and you can adjust them as needed. Do your speed ramp on your graph however you want. But the purpose of this was for multiple keyframes and animations, so use it as you need. And then flip just flips the Y coordinate. So now we have the new graph. As you can see, it's pretty self-explanatory. You select your keyframes, you select your graph, it'll make your graph for you. We also added the plus, so you can live edit your graph. So if you find one that you like, you press apply. You find one that you like, say keep doing this. Once you like it, you just save it and it's added to your bank. To remove it, you just press the minus. You'll select it first and then press the minus. So yeah, we have the whole graph in here, fully functional, works on multiple keyframes. That's basically it. Pretty self-explanatory. I do want to add some more features into this, but for now, here's the graph. Next, we have the transitions. So once again, I redid all the transitions, made them more seamless, more user-friendly. We have some of my favorites here, which are the SC, scale. So we have scale 1, scale 2, we have scale out, we have slice effects, we have warp effects, we have RGB. You click the layer that's going to be transitioning to. So I'm assuming this layer and this layer is what I want. I'll find an effect that I like. I'll just pick this one. Just double click it and it'll apply directly to your timeline. It applies the effects right here. You can delete one if you don't want one, but yeah, it'll do the before and after in the transition. So here's one of the scale outs. Don't mind the speed ramp that we roughly made. Let me just delete it actually. So yeah, here's the scale out transition. Pretty seamless and I love it. So I want to make more of these. Just let me know what you guys want to see, what kind of transitions you want in here. Go ahead, delete that. Lastly, we have the workflow tab, which we added some new features. As I said, we have the original features here, the keyframe strength, and this is something I use honestly a lot. So if I have keyframes such as these, so this is a transition where the clip comes in right and we need it all smooth. I'll show you really quickly how I do it. So I'll select all these keyframes, basically effects right here. I'm gonna press apply, so they're all at 0, and I'm gonna show you how rough it looks right now. So you see how this just kind of mushes in? I want it to be more smooth. So I want it to be at this marker here. So I'll select these, and select these, and I want them all to have the same exact style of motion. So I'll go to keyframe strength, changes to maybe around 67, press apply, and you'll see it applies to all these keyframes. So instead of doing this all manually and going through all of this in your speed graph, you could just do it here. So if I went like this and I wanted to time it differently, it's literally that easy, and it helps your animations become in sync all at once. So this is something I use a lot, especially in transitions and animations. And then we have the presets here: S-curve, in, out, linear, adjustment layers, solid, text, and null, trim the layer size, toggle it on, and then when you press any of these, it will apply it to that layer and it will trim it. So if you want to make a quick adjustment layer, you just click here. If you want to add it to your whole timeline, don't click this. Press adjustment layer, it'll add it to your whole timeline. Next, we have some rotate buttons. Rotate, 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 rotate. And lastly, we have the pre-compose button, which want to be added. You can pre-compose all your layers, select your layers, whatever you want. Go ahead and do that. This concludes the EssentialFX version 4 update in full. I know this has been a long video. If you stayed in the video, like and subscribe. I will be posting a lot of tutorials using EssentialFX to truly show you how I use this in all my client work. Let me know what you want to see next, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And don't forget, if you want to try EssentialFX, it is available on the website for free on the demo version.